Normally, I would ignore people like Pastor Marley, but in Uganda, I can't, because it's their views that are shaping the law. At the moment, people are arrested and jailed for being gay, and many complain of being beaten. But if the anti-gay bill is passed, it's only going to get worse. The bill includes the death penalty for consenting adults who are serial offenders, life imprisonment for intimate touching, and jail for anyone, including friends and family, who don't turn gay people in. It might seem like a hopeless situation, but there are some brave people attempting to fight back. One of the most prominent in Uganda is Frank Mugisha, a gay rights activist. Frank's been in contact with me, and he has been invited on a radio show in the west of Uganda. It's about 200 kilometres away in a place called Mbarara. So Kampala's here and Mbarara is there. He knows I'm a radio DJ, so he thinks it'd be good if I could go along. And also, the topic of discussion is gay people, which never happens in this country, hardly ever anyway. I left with Frank the next day. He heads an organisation called Sexual Minorities Uganda and is constantly being threatened. But this hasn't stopped him putting his head above the parapet. After hours of driving along some pretty awful roads, we finally made it to Mbarara. And with darkness falling, I was keen to explore the nightlife with Frank and Steve, our driver. As someone who spends a lot of time in bars and clubs, it was great to immerse myself in almost familiar surroundings.
I wish Uganda had gay DJs who would go and play music in schools, music in clubs. But I guess there are so many Ugandan gay DJs who don't want to come out of the closet.
It'll happen. It'll happen. As the night wore on, I mixed with the locals and felt more relaxed than any other time since getting to Uganda. I was even beginning to think things weren't so bad after all. This is an amazing club. I've had a really good time tonight. Nice to let my hair down for a bit after all the stuff that we've gone through. I did have to have a chat about what girls I liked earlier with some of Steve's friends. I kind of just fudged the conversation. And it makes me think that if they knew who I really was, they might view me differently. But I've kept my head down and just, you know, gone along with things and had a really good night. It's been really nice. In the morning, still buoyed by a sense of optimism, we headed over to Vision FM. Across the country, radio stations have been fined or forced to close for hosting homosexual debates, which is why this debate, hosted by DJ Jimmy Pound, was such a big deal. Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Please, show you.
Thank you very much. Walking into the studio, I immediately felt at home. It was just like being in London getting ready to do my own Radio 1 show. Although this time, I had to take a back seat and let someone else take the lead.
Okay then, we're really going to be talking about something very sensitive. Homosexuality. Now, my brother, you're activating for homosexuality. You're saying fine homosexuality, hip hip hooray.
Every person is talking about homosexuality. People know about it. Your callers will say, we know it. We've met homosexuals.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, right?
Does knowing it mean that it's right? Because they know it, does it make it right in any way?
What makes you think it's wrong?
What makes me... In the beginning, it was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So really, I don't get it. Okay, yes, my mind might be misplaced at this point, but please correct me if I'm wrong.
Why are you so much against homosexuality? For example, why do you hate homosexuals?
Homosexuality in Africa came in as something like an alien would come.
Yes. What is inciting people to want to embrace homosexuality?
What is inciting people? Yes. What is inciting the LGBT activists?
Those girls are really winding me up. I kind of want to just grab the mic and go, listen! But I just want to hear what they've got to say. But it's really hard to just sit by and not talk. Especially with those girls, they're doing my head in.
God initially created man and woman. not man for man. Give us a call, 038-2271-891 and 0794-271-891. Hello.
Now, you guys, is it mentioned anywhere that it's okay for man to have sex with a man?
It is not really.
So for me, there is no way you're going to convince me that it is okay to have sex with a fellow man. So for good sake, there is no way.
How does it happen?
So me, I can't concur with you in any way.
I
In
have
the Western world, 2% to 13%. Assuming this thing has grown, because the way it has acquired.
When you
this
talk
kind-
about this thing growing,
this thing, because it's a thing to me, it's alien to me.
Yes.
It's like you're looking at in 50 years from now,
No, I'm
like
looking at 10 years.
80% of the population will be
That
gay.
means there's
no,
a great
I'm not
Australia.
saying.
It's as though he wants it to be gay. Now listen, assuming 80% of the population in the world
I'm
is
not
gay,
saying-
then I would give the world 100 years for it to be empty with
I'm
no
not
person.
saying. I'm not saying.
Who would be giving
Michael,
birth, by the way?
Listen to me.
You
I'm
can
not
imagine.
saying.
That's
Let me tell
very
you.
true.
Let me tell you something.
There is
You're breaking what Africa
Let me
is,
tell you
by the
something.
way.
I'm not breaking.
If
what
we're
Africa-
fighting,
Let
if
me
we're
tell you-
fighting for Africa, we know.
Michael,
If we're fighting for the
listen to me.
African,
Michael, this is getting personal.
Yeah, no,
I'm not fighting.
No,
what-
if we are
fighting-
Africa.
if we're
I'm
fighting
just
for the
fighting
Africa,
what
we know.
I'm feeling inside myself
Yeah.
because I was born like this. Because I was born like this.
Mugisha, you just
Let me
need
tell
to
you
calm
something.
down.
No,
You need-
he's hurting my.
After 2 hours of what I can only describe as a battering, it was all over for Frank. Wow. How did you feel about that?
I'm pretty much disappointed by the level of homophobia that exists in this region. I think we do, sometimes I flatter myself and I think the journey is not so much, but I think the journey is so big. And I feel so bad that people have to be this homophobic. I mean, almost all the callers were like, kill them, arrest them, they are mad, they are dirty.
I was very disappointed as well. I really thought that this would be different, that maybe we get a more positive response. But all I heard was the same old bigoted views. It was a long drive back to Kampala, and the mood in the van was sombre, which wasn't helped by the fact we were driving in the dark. Right, this is going to be a quick one tonight because I'm absolutely knackered. The radio station phoned in earlier. I've never wanted to grab a microphone more and speak, but I wasn't allowed because it might get us into trouble. Yeah, just a bunch of bigots, really, including the presenter. I thought he was supposed to be impartial on a talk show. But that drive we just did from Imbarara to Kampala, it's probably not even far, but the roads are so awful, and all of us in the car were just so tense and just wanted to get there safely. And there's these juggernauts coming towards us and missing us by this much. It's tired me out. I was nearing the end of my time in Uganda, but there was still one person I had to meet. And for someone like me, he was probably the most dangerous man in the country. Ugandan MP David Bahati, the man behind the anti-homosexuality bill. He's been demonised by the international community for proposing it, but applauded by his own countrymen, with 95% of Ugandans supporting some